folks, Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Hey, how's it going? We're coming in here with another review of an exceptional phone I'm very impressed with so far. This comes just from Google. I think you can get these at Sprint and AT&T right now. I'm not sure if T-Mobile has them, or you can order them directly from Google. Anyway, this is the new Nexus 5, and a lot of people were highly anticipating this release because the Nexus 4 was very popular with a lot of people who like great phones with all the latest software from them on the Android operating system, but they don't like the bloatware that comes from many of the carriers that are out there. So one of the benefits of getting this from Google is you can avoid the bloatware. So Google sent us the phone, and it looks like they also sent us a kind of case for it, and I'm sure this comes in a variety of different colors. We'll go ahead and set that aside this time because we're not really going to use the case much. The great thing about the Google Nexus 5, and it's made by LG, I should probably point out, is that it comes with the latest software on it. It's got 4.4 KitKat, so it's got the cool thing that I actually really enjoy. I like Google Now. I think it's a really smart and brilliant product. And the great thing is you can just slide from the left to the right to be able to activate the Google Now thing. Often I'm found hunting around for the Google Now icon so that I can press it and see what my cards are for the day. And then, of course, this has got the integration that's very familiar with most people with the Moto X. Okay, Google. And just by saying that, you can activate the Google search and algorithms, or whatever you want to call them, or you can activate the Google Now sort of thing. It's a great phone. There's literally no bloatware to it, or very little if there is any that you can find. There's no a bunch of crap apps or crapware, as some people call them. It's just a great, simple phone. And what's nice is the specifications for this phone are really up to market in what's out there. And for the price range of what you can get this phone, that's the other thing that makes it really great. It's not a super expensive phone. Now, it's not built like a super expensive phone, but when it comes to the guts and the software and everything that's inside of it, it really makes a difference. So let's talk about that and what that's about, and then we'll get into some more of the phone. You're looking at an OS, of course, like I mentioned, 4.4 Android KitKat. The size of it is 5.43 inches in height, 2.72 in width, and 0.34 inches in thickness. The weight is 4.59 ounces to our friends across the pond. That's 130 grams. The display is really beautiful. It's a 5-inch display with 1080p screen, and it has a 445 ppi. I was very impressed with the ppi because the ppi is very high. The near one is the HTC One that has a beautiful screen. It's only 4.7 inches in the display, but it has a beautiful screen. The PPI just, in my mind, makes a difference in the quality and beautiful look at when you're playing games, watching videos, etc., etc. It's got an IPS LCD technology screen, 16.7 million colors, multi-touch, yada, yada, yada. The same thing with a lot of these phones. It's got a Qualcomm Snapdragon 800. Now, these are the new processors that are out from Qualcomm. These processors are bad boys. They can rock and roll speed. They got all sorts of cool gadgets and stuff inside of them. And this is a 2.2 gigahertz Qualcomm quad core, so it's got 4 cores in it, and the Snapdragon 800s are just rock and roll. They're the next features. You'll see a lot of them in phones coming out in 2014. The built-in storage is 16 gigabytes of memory. Battery time will give you about talk time of 17 hours, standby at 12.5 days. The capacity is pretty huge for a phone that's this small. 2,300 milliamp hours that you can take and get in it. It, of course, has NFC on it, as most of the Androids do. And the camera on it, camera could have been maybe a little bit better. Some people haven't been too excited about the camera, but it is good. It does a fair job. We'll get into that. We'll show you some pictures here in a bit. It's got an 8 megapixel camera with an f-stop of 2.4. And let's see, what else do we have here? It's 1080p. On the video with 30 frames per second. Now, I believe you can get 60 frames per second if you go to 720p. So it's got that's part of the new Qualcomm chips and the speeds that you can take and get out of the chipsets. The front-facing camera is 1.3 megapixels. It has several different things in the camera too. It has got burst mode, HDR dynamic range. It's got panoramic. It's got scenes, geotagging, white balance, all the things you normally find on your Android product. So let's take a look at it. You've got, of course, your capacitive touchscreen here for your home button, and then we've got a recent apps button, and we've got the back button that can take us into different things. It's got a really simple, intuitive process. You can see here it's got a finite swipe to it, so it just goes back and forth. You've got the notifications that you can see here, and you can easily get into your settings from the notifications area and do some very quick settings to brightness and everything else. Like I say, it's very simple and intuitive, easy to figure out menus, nothing that's too hard for most people to do, and nothing that's cumbersome with a lot of extra what they call bloatware. And then of course you've got your Google Now that's incorporated there, which is pretty cool. That's pretty much it. It's pretty thin and nice. It's very comfortable, ergonomic to hold in the hand. Ergonomic, if I can say that properly. The only downside that I didn't like about it is it gets really smeary on the back here with these fingerprints and kind of the whatever the rubber is they use, but that's probably one of the reasons they sent us this nice Google case, so you can put that on there so you don't quite get them. But it's not that big of a deal. It's just kind of a look thing, if anything. You can see here the LG symbol that made it, and you've got your camera eye and flash lamp here, and it looks pretty cool with the Nexus across the back. It does feel very comfortable. I'm surprised at how fast the speed is and how much is in here and how thin it is. That's what's very impressive about it. The build is pretty inexpensive, let's put it that way. When you press the buttons, you can kind of feel them move around, wiggle around a bit when you utilize them. It's not a solid build like you would find in more expensive phones, but the key here is you're not paying for a more expensive phone. So it's not a bad sort of jiggle, but you can definitely, it just kind of feels a little cheapish, but the price is a little cheapish. So you're getting what you pay for here. Well, I think you're getting more than what you pay for here. This is a really good phone. So let's take a walk around it. On the bottom here, we've got our speakers, and you've got your plug, sync, charge area. Down the right side, we've got your SIM card tray, and we've got your power button. Across the top, we've got your your earphone jack, and then a microphone hole. And then across the left-hand side, we've got the volume rocker button. Really simple and easy to take and utilize. I was hoping the back would come off, but as far as I've been able to figure out, the back doesn't come off, and there's no expandable memory to it. Only one downside, because I do like removable batteries on Androids. But I got to tell you, like I said, for what you're paying for this phone, it's an incredible deal, and it's very feature-rich in everything that goes into it. So I really like it in my experience with it so far. It's very fast. It's got a great, powerful processor that's ahead of a lot of processors that are on the market in Android phones. It's got a great camera. It feels good, and it's got a 1080p screen that's just beautiful. Playing games, watching movies on it are nice, and really just great things to say about it. Let's take a look at the camera. Okay, the great thing about the Nexus 5 is it's very intuitive, and it's very responsive. It's very fast and does what you want it to take and do. So let's take a look at the camera and how it works. They kind of have a really unique setup to the camera, where you can see here it's got a place where you can just press and focus in on different things and what you want to focus in on. You've got kind of these capacitive touchscreen things where you can choose several different menu items, your flash, your HDR, different exposure, all that sort of good stuff that you can take and choose from in your photos. You can also switch between photo mode, video mode, panorama mode, and this mode where you can basically kind of create this global looks, if you will, which is pretty freaking cool. And you just slide around to whatever you want to take and do, and you can make adjustments to scenes and everything else, location, whatever sort of stuff you want to take and do. It's pretty cool, and it takes a few seconds to get used to, but it's not too bad once you kind of get the hang of how to do the adjustments and everything else that you can take and do, and adjusting everything to do with the camera. So it takes good pictures, especially with the latest update they had. There was a few people who complained about the original camera that was in it and how it was operating. Let's take a look at some of the pictures that we took and did. It's got a very strong flash lamp to it, and in the flash lamp, we get great pictures. It shoots very well. So let's take a look at a few of these here. We'll start with moving over. We'll start with just some close-up shots that we took of some corrugated board here. There's a close-up shot of kind of an orange. Doesn't do really well on real macro shots, but then again, it's not designed to be a macro camera. This is a completely dark shot where we're in complete darkness in the laundry room, and you can see here the flash does a great job about lighting up the room and coming into focus. Here's a video shot of the same sort of experience, and this is in complete darkness. You can see here the lamp does a really great job of showing everything in the room, lighting up the room, and just overall working great. So definitely not a weakness in any way, shape, or form when it comes to the lamp and the flash on the device. Here's the outdoor picture. We can go through some of these other pictures. Now there's a 4x zoom that's on here. So what we've done is we've used the 4x zoom. It doesn't do that great when you, as you can see, when you zoom in on stuff. I'll show you how that works here in a second. But it's an okay camera. It's good. Is it a great camera? No, I'd probably rate the iPhone 5S as one of the better cameras, and most people do anyway. Many people rate the Nokia as better. But, you know, really, if you're buying this phone, you're buying it probably for more of a budget experience or a bloatware, less experience, or, you know, experience where you can get the latest software from Google without having to wait for the carriers to take and do their updates. You can see it does great video. There's no problems with it whatsoever. Let's go back into the thing and we'll show you how the zoom works. The zoom's very simple. You just pull out with 2 fingers, in and out. You can go up to 4x zoom. And it's very simple that way. You can see here you can easily get into your gallery and come back out just by sliding. You can easily make your adjustments and everything else. So I like the camera. I think it's good. I don't think it's the greatest thing in the world, but I think it does a great job. And for the Nexus 5, I think it's great for it. Okay, so all in all, I really enjoyed the experience with the Nexus 5. We're going to be doing comparisons with these phones, with each of the phones that are out there on the market, about 20 of them. So be sure to watch for those. Give us a like, subscribe to us on YouTube, go to Google.com, check out and search for the Nexus 5. Find a retailer near you, pick yourself up one. I really like it. I was very impressed with it. I think it's a wonderful phone, especially the price point that it is. I think with companies like Sprint, you can get this as inexpensively as $50 with a 2-year commitment. What a deal! And I think you can buy it for $300 or $400. It just depends on when you watch this video what the price will be. But be sure to check it out. Very impressed. The Nexus 5. Chris Voss tested. Chris Voss approved. I really like this phone, and watch for us to compare it with other phones out there in the marketplace. Thanks for coming by. Be sure to check back in.